A storm rages outside, the wind howling as Daniel sits at his desk, staring at the crumpled note Faith had slipped into his hand earlier that evening. The words are rushed, written with trembling hands.
Meet me tomorrow. The clearing. We need to talk.
His heart races. Faith's tone is different this time. Not the gentle sweetness he's come to cherish, but an urgency that unnerves him. The storm outside feels like an echo of the one brewing within. He clutches the note tightly, a decision forming in his mind. Tomorrow may change everything. Faith clutches her knees to her chest as her mother sits beside her on the bed.
They've already chosen someone for you.
Her mother says softly, her voice laden with regret. Faith's heart sinks. She already knew what her father had been planning, but hearing the confirmation makes it real.
Mama, I can't do this.
She whispers, tears welling in her eyes. Her mother sighs, placing a hand on her daughter's shoulder.
You know your father. To him, this isn't about love. It's about protecting the family.
Faith looks at her mother, her voice trembling but defiant.
But I love Daniel. How can I choose duty over my heart?
The sound of clinking glasses echoes in the dining room as Faith walks in, her heart sinking when she sees him, a young man dressed impeccably in Agbada sitting beside her father.
This is Akin.
Chief Adedayo announces proudly, gesturing to the man. Akin stands extending a hand.
I've heard so much about you, Faith.
He says with a smile that doesn't reach his eyes. Faith's lips tighten as she forces a polite nod. As the dinner progresses, her father speaks of shared traditions and families aligning, his words heavy with expectations. Faith sits silently, her mind elsewhere, thinking of the note she gave Daniel, wondering if he'll understand the storm she's trapped in. Pastor Abel sits across from Daniel, his eyes sharp and calculating.
It's time we talk about your future.
He begins, sliding a brochure across the table.
It's for a theological seminary, far from home. I've spoken with the elders. They agree it's time you take the next step in your ministry.
Daniel's stomach tightens. He knows what this is. His father's way of pulling him away from faith, from the distractions he believes are clouding his judgment.
I need time to think about this.
Daniel says carefully, though the resolve in his father's eyes leaves no room for argument. Pastor Abel leans back, his voice steady but firm.
Your time is now, Daniel. Don't waste it.
Daniel arrives at the clearing, his heart pounding as he sees Faith waiting for him. She's pacing, her face lined with worry.
What's wrong?
He asks, stepping closer. Faith hesitates, her hands trembling.
My father's forcing me to meet someone. He wants me to marry him, Daniel.
The words hit Daniel like a blow. He grabs her hands, pulling her closer.
You can't let him do this, Faith. We'll find a way.
She shakes her head, tears spilling down her cheeks.
I don't know if we can.
They stand there, the forest around them silent, except for their rapid breathing, their love suddenly feeling like a battle they're losing. Faith's father sits at his desk, rifling through papers.
This letter.
He mutters, pulling out an envelope. It's addressed to Pastor Abel, dated decades ago. As Faith watches from the doorway, hidden from view, she realizes the letter is identical to the one she found. Her father begins to speak, as if to himself.
If this gets out, no one can know.
Faith's breath catches. She backs away, her mind racing. What has her father done? And why does Pastor Abel have a part in it? She knows she must tell Daniel, even if it means risking everything. Faith rushes to Daniel, clutching the envelope she stole from her father's study.
You need to see this.
She says breathless. Daniel opens it, his eyes scanning the words. His face hardens as he realizes what it means.
This could ruin both our families.
He whispers. But before they can say more, a rustle in the bushes makes them freeze. They're not alone. Daniel steps forward, shielding Faith.
Who's there?
He calls out. Silence. Then, the sound of footsteps retreating rapidly. Someone has been watching, and now their secret isn't safe anymore. Secrets have a way of surfacing, and love isn't always enough to protect against the storm. Faith and Daniel have taken risks, but now someone else knows their truth. In the shadows of the clearing, an unseen witness carries their story, and the consequences may be more than they can bear. The path ahead grows darker, and for Faith and Daniel the question remains, how far will they go to protect each other and uncover the truth?